Challenging. Exciting.
Creative. Solutions. Fascinating. Interesting.
Everything that we come in contact with has some form of engineering. Your car you drive, getting into the building that you have to go into, everything you touch has had some sort of impact from an engineer.
It's about using our understanding of the physical world, of physics and maths, but it's doing something creative with it. It's coming up with solutions.
Roads, bridges, structures, buildings, mechanical systems, electrical systems.
Engineers are responsible for everything that makes our life easier and more fun. Everything from cars to communication over internet, from the sports gear to the aeroplanes we fly on holiday, energy resources, everything. It's all engineers.
Every great idea that we've ever had has had to have engineers get it out for everyone to use.
It's commonly said that engineers have saved more lives than medics, and if you actually think about what things were like in the last century, people dying because of lack of clean water, all those things are put to right by engineers.
Engineers tackle, I think, the biggest problems that people face today.
Where are we going to get all our energy from? There's environmental questions.
Transportation, sustainability, housing, all these issues.
So you can work on the sort of hard steel and equipment and everything, or you can work to solve poverty, environmental issues, medical devices and everything. It's all engineers.
Alongside my day job, I do a lot of work with charities, and I can use my skills to help people in other countries that are lesser off than us. I'm building schools in Ghana, and seeing the kids turn up on their first day of school was the best thing that I've ever done.
I was working on a device which actually monitors a baby's heart rate while the baby is inside the womb. When you see these products getting used on the patients and saving somebody's life, you feel proud, because at the end of the day you always want to help the human life, and it doesn't matter if you were not a doctor to save a life, but your product did save somebody's life, and I think that makes me feel very happy.
So engineering is putting our knowledge of the physical world to use for the betterment of mankind.
If you have a curiosity in exploring how even a mobile works.
Why are there these little dents in the golf ball, or why does a split level floor house break down and it quakes over just one level house?
If you have that one curiosity in your mind, I would say engineering is the field for you.
You're not quite happy with how things work. You think things can improve, and you're looking for solutions for that.
You need to have good technical skills.
At the end of the day, it's going to be whether the numbers balance, whether the building or the bridge or the aeroplane is able to produce what it's meant to do.
You need to be creative.
You have to think outside the box on a fair few occasions to get to a solution that works.
You can't find the answer in a book. You can't find it on the internet. You yourself have to come up with a solution, and then you have to persuade everybody else that your solution is the best.
I used to see the F1 racing on TV, and I used to be like, wow, that car goes so fast, and I really want to see how that car works.
I didn't want to sit and solely just do analytical, theoretical work. I would quite like the hands-on side of things as well.
I was always interested in bridges, for example. You know, how do they stand up? How do they work? You know, and I always wanted to do something where I could apply my technical skills, but in a practical sense, to see what I did turn into something that I could see in reality.
I want to know how everything works, and if it fails, I want to know how to fix it.
Looking back, it was when I was watching Apollo 13, and they got to the point in the film where they were trying to figure out how to get a square into a circle, and that was the point where I realised I'd quite like to go into something that uses problem-solving skills.
TRW is a company who deals with making cars safe,
airbags and seatbelt systems and braking systems that potentially can help protect people.
Say you are on a motorway and you unintentionally are actually going to cause a collision or things like that. You know, you're departing a lane and you're not really calculating the distances. So these kind of softwares will warn the driver actually that, you know, you are into a critical zone and you better slow down, or, you know, you better take control of the car.
The Bloodhound project is a land speed record project based in the UK. We're going for 1,000 miles an hour, so the car's being designed to reach 1,050.
We're using a jet engine from a Eurofighter to get the car rolling, and then we're using a hybrid rocket to bring the car up to 1,000 miles an hour. And the rocket is using 1 ton of high-test peroxide, which is HTP, which has to be pumped into the rocket in 20 seconds. So to do that, we needed a Formula 1 engine, which can give us the power. Cosworth have donated one of their F1 engines that you still see running around the circuits at the moment, which will be doing that job.
Baker Hughes, we are the biggest service company for the oil and gas industry.
Everything you need to drill an oil well, really, from the very start of it until the oil comes out of it. We deliver solutions for that.
If you can imagine that oil and gas is stored underground, it's not like a reservoir or a lake of oil. It's stored within rock, and when you take that oil out of the ground, the rock breaks up and can cause damage to formation equipment. It can be very costly, time consuming to get rid of. And so what we do is go down with some sand screens and prevent that broken material from coming to surface.
It's a global company and there's so much opportunity for you to travel and go anywhere and work anywhere in the world.
There are a number of different types of engineers. Underpinning all of them is maths and physics at A level. But after that, people might go into different specialisations.
The civil engineering,
Mechanical engineers,
Aeronautical engineering,
Structural engineers,
electrical engineers,
Software engineering,
chemical engineers,
public health engineers,
Biomedical engineers.
facade engineers.
There's so many, list is endless and you can combine them in lots of different ways.
Engineering problems don't actually come neatly packaged with boundaries around electrical engineering or mechanical engineering. When you actually want to tackle something, it usually involves all sorts of disciplines.
You might be thinking, you know, now I know what engineering is, but how do I get there?
It helps if you've got an interest in maths and science.
Maths and physics.
Maths or sciences.
Maths in particular, and science subjects at school, particularly through to A levels.
Because they're kind of the key subjects you need to have a good, stable base for engineering.
It's really important to keep options open as long as possible, and so continuing with maths and science subjects into the sixth form is certainly a way of doing that.
Whether you want to go into engineering or not, they're fantastic subjects that give you a very broad base into a whole different number of careers and not necessarily just engineering.
Most people becoming a chartered engineer would go through an engineering degree, and that's the quickest route to becoming chartered. But people with other degrees, mathematics, physics, can often, after working in an engineering environment, can also become an engineer.
But then you could also go through an apprentice route, and when I worked at JCB previously, people there were actually going into engineering from leaving school, doing HNDs and going through and doing an apprentice level route, and there's lots of ways to go into engineering.
Engineering is such a good foundation, regardless if you find out later on in your life that, you know what, I actually want to go into marketing or sales or management or business. Engineering is a great foundation for all of that, and it's easy to move throughout your career. Engineering is also very global. You can travel anywhere in the world with your engineering degree, and it's recognized. It's the same sort of things you learn in all the countries, so you can easily, you're mobile, you can move around.
There's a desperate shortage of engineers and scientists in the UK, and it's estimated that UK businesses want to recruit 600,000 new graduate engineers over the next 7 years. There's a whole range of salary levels within engineering. I think, first of all, at the starting level for graduates, it's probably up there with number 1 and 2 in the best paid level for recent graduates.
The biggest reward of being an engineer is being able to see the projects you've worked on be built and become operational and be used. I have a couple of bridges that I've worked on, and they're now there, and I can see them and I can go on them and I can see people using them, and to me that's the biggest reward ever.
One day you might be going out to see a rocket firing, another day you might be stuck on the phone chatting to sponsors.
You may be in a design office, but equally you may be out on site looking after the construction, and it's really up to you what direction you want to go in.
Some engineers working in a lab, other people sit in front of their computers, or you sit in big like CSI type rooms with everything visual 3D in front of you.
Engineering can be the job you want it to be. You can go out and get your hands dirty and be very involved, very practical, or equally you can do much more of an office-based job.
It's all about having fun, because I believe that also again sparks the creativity.
If you think engineering is a job you want to do, go ahead and do it. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks. If it's something you enjoy, then that's the main point.
You're going to be working for a very long time, so don't look at just the immediate future. Look at your life and what you want to get out of your life.
You're actually almost like an innovator. You're trying to find new solutions, whether it's just a small improvement to something or coming up with a whole new energy source.
What I do is not what most people do. And when I look back on my life, I'm going to be able to say, yeah, I did something different.